As you grow older, the question of what is the purpose of all this feels more urgent for you to answer. While I don't have any answers of what life's true meaning is, cinema might. Of course, reading up on Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle would help, and I would strongly encourage. Maybe instead we should turn to something Ingmar Bergman once said: to shoot a film is to organize an entire universe. So instead of going through volumes of books to understand the extensive philosophical universe, maybe just try watching a good film that will help organize or bookend these intricate ideologies into somewhat digestible narratives. And if all else fails, then maybe these films will offer a comforting touch to all the uncertainty floating around. Jean-Paul Sartre, a French philosopher often associated with existentialism, once wrote, "Life is nothing until it is lived, but it is yours to make sense of, and the value of it is nothing else but the sense you choose." In brief, existentialism is the belief that because life has no true objective meaning, we humans must create one. Our existence is dependent on our purpose, which should be chosen by each individual. A purpose, a will, or a belief will be a reflection of our connection to our life and to the humans around it, and we are held to the responsibility to uphold the principles we commit to. I hope I never get old, so I get religious. Ingmar Bergman. So if being an existentialist interests you, then here are a list of films that explore, criticize, and represent this concept. Antolini's haunting La Ventura explores how isolation or alienation leads to the desperate search to find meanings for life and the choices we deliberately make within it. Bergman's Wild Strawberries and The Seventh Seal delve into the responsibility factor of our purpose in life, taking accountability and confronting our wrongs and our duty to keep the philosophies we believe in intact. Scorsese's moving Silence is a religious depiction on the challenges in staying true to the course you've chosen in life and the beliefs you must remain loyal to. Tarkovsky's Mirror fixates on finding meanings on events from the past to make sense of the present, embodying a quote from Kierkegaard, who's considered the father of existentialism. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And Stalker is a study into how our roles and purposes align with our desires and how this all fits into the greater scheme of the human condition. Kurosawa's heartbreaking Ikiru, similar to Mirror and Wild Strawberries, confronts the very importance and meaning in our mundane existence, a ponderment that's triggered by the sudden confrontation with mortality and non-permanence. In the decaying age where faith is questioned comes the man who claimed God is dead, Nietzsche, human's introduction to the more controversial angles of life. Unlike existentialism, nihilism accepts no objective meaning. Nietzsche says there is no facts, only interpretation. Built on skepticism and destruction, nihilism urges one to lose loyalty to any belief system because they, like everything else, serve no purpose. And the society or the people that put these systems in place aren't to be trusted because, as he says, faith means not wanting to know what is true, and what is true to him is no meaning and no purpose. Art consists of reshaping life, but it does not create life nor cause life. I don't think that any genuine artist has ever been orientated by some didactic point of view, even if he thought he was. Stanley Kubrick. And if you want to follow in the footsteps of these skeptics, then let's dive into the films that very well represent nihilists or the nihilistic world. Standing in Letterboxd's solid top 30 films of all time is Woman in the Dunes, a hopeless blend of absurdity and nihilism. We ask the question, how does one accept the idea that their actions and attempt of escape will always be meaningless and that they will never have true control? Kubrick's controversial A Clockwork Orange is the embodiment of a nihilistic world filled with vile human beings who take advantage of the lack of meaning. His way too close to current reality comedy Dr. Strangelove is a satirically dark depiction of humanity's pleasure of violence and the petty and meaningless quality of it. Aronofsky's magnum opus, Requiem for a Dream, similar to Dr. Strangelove, follows the attitude of meaningless destruction, an essential symptom to the idea of nihilism. Cinema's most upsetting anti-war film, Come and See, criticizes the senseless violence that erupts with one's belief that nothing you do will mean anything when you accept that life itself has no purpose. And once again, Scorsese makes an appearance in this video, but on the opposite end of existentialism, with Taxi Driver, a film that is the epitome of all things that make up a nihilist. Then we arrive at absurdism, the meeting point of an existentialist desire for closure or acceptance in a nihilistically meaningless world. Absurdism is best said by the foreman of the idea, Albert Camus. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Absurdism is a revolt against the meaning and an acceptance of the unpredictability and chaos that comes with both life and being a human. It is an acceptance that most things in life are flawed or spontaneous, and hence we too should follow that unexpected way of things. It makes me uncomfortable to talk about meanings and things. It's better not to know so much about what things mean, because the meaning, it's a very personal thing, and the meaning for me is different than the meaning for someone else. David Lynch. David Lynch also once said, "Absurdity is what I like most in life, and there's humor in struggling and ignorance." If you saw a man repeatedly running into a wall until he was a bloody pulp, after a while it would make you laugh because it would become absurd. Bunel's The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie is a perfect replication of this. There is a futility in their grand lifestyle they arrogantly hold so much importance to. The main conflict of their dinner constantly being interrupted is a critique on the lack of meaning and irrational reaction from the upper middle class. Modern-day master of absurdity Yorgos Lanthimos, with films like Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster, play out as commentaries to the silly, petty extremes humans reach to try to make sense of their lives and failures, which evidently occurs with no real reason. It's a portrayal of humans' inability to accept life's indifference to them. Groundbreaking and borderline modern silent film A Ghost Story is a portrait of life's vast and far bigger picture nature, a mundane look on just how small your life is compared to the odd, unpredictable way of how the world functions and rotates without your permission. Lynch's Mulholland Drive is a subjective and dramatized visual interpretation of just how chaotic and spontaneous this world is, and how we humans use fantasies to cope and comfort our very small and unimportant existence within it. And finally, Synecdoche, New York, a profoundly upsetting film's understanding of how we unravel at life's nature. The immense, no-meaning effort Philip Seymour Hoffman's character Caden Cotard makes to bring his story to life mirrors the punishment Sisyphus was sentenced to of uselessly rolling the boulder up the hill only for it to go all the way back down. But just as Camus said, the struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. We too must believe Cotard found some level of comfort in his meticulous search for perfection. So though these concepts are hard to study, grasp, or even understand all at once, turn to these films to better digest and cope with these complex ideas. And maybe these can be good starting off points for a deeper and more personal study into what life means for you.